Plantation Princess Blake Lively was so moved by It Ends With Us, a novel she allegedly didn't even read, that she decided to take control of Justin Baldoni's movie. Even though he optioned the novel, found Colleen Hoover, wooed her, established a relationship with her years prior, produced the movie and directed it, but she snatched it all away from him after she made some damning and seemingly untrue allegations against him. And on Friday night, Baldoni's attorney refiled an amended lawsuit against her that included an extensive timeline that I have been going through beat by beat. Where we left off. June 12th, 2024. Wayfarer, his production company, is informed that Blake Lively told Sony that she will be showing audiences at Book Bonanza her cut of the film, regardless of Sony or Wayfarer's approval. She later admitted on her panel at the event that the studio begged her not to show the film, but ultimately they didn't have the option to say no, as she brought the movie with her on the airplane. A video of this comment is available at the 48-minute mark, and then a hyperlink included to that. June 14th, Lively, Colleen Hoover, Brandon Sklenar, and Isabella Ferrer, actors in the movie, attend Book Bonanza to promote the film's release. Wayfarer was only made aware that Brandon and Isabella would be in attendance the day of the event. Sony later notified Wayfarer that it was Lively who reached out to Brandon and Isabella and paid for their travel and lodging. June 14th, Baldoni shares with his editors that Lively's cut of the film would be shown on the second day of Book Bonanza. The whole movie, says editor number 2? Yup, replies Baldoni, hers. Editor number 1 says, wow. Baldoni replies, was supposed to be ours, and then I was uninvited. Whole thing is pretty cruel and intense. Editor number 1, uneffing believable. Editor number 2, oh, sorry, Justin. He replied, I love you both. June 17th, Lively makes the unilateral decision to bring on a new composer for the film. As a result, the original award-winning composer was let go despite having already completed the score, which included costly orchestral arrangements. Even though Lively had absolutely no right to do this, neither Wayfarer nor Sony were able to challenge Lively's decision, despite the significant financial implications, paying out the original composer in full and shouldering the steep costs of hiring a new composer so late in the process. June 18th, Sony Marketing requests that Baldoni waive his film buy credit on the secondary poster so that only Lively's name would appear above the title. Further, despite having already approved a poster for the film, it was understood by Wayfarer that Lively would not approve this new version in which Baldoni's name appeared next to hers, thus requesting that Baldoni's name be removed. Sony obliged and made the ask to Baldoni. Given this is a contractual right that Baldoni negotiated, Sony needed Baldoni to put in writing that he was waiving his right to a film buy credit. For clarity, there would be no reason for Baldoni to waive this right without Lively requiring to do so. Ultimately, he acquiesced. Receipts from the Sony executive to his producing partner. We'd love to start printing tomorrow to get into theaters. However, this version does not have Justin's film by credit, and so we would need to waive that. Please let me know if this is approved. Ugh. June 18th. On the same day that Baldoni waives his film buy credit, Wayfarer also reluctantly agrees to give Lively a producer credit on the film. This was an ask that she took to Sony despite it being a decision properly made by Wayfarer, his production company. She was originally credited only as an executive producer, but both Wayfarer and Sony no longer had the leverage to oppose her demands or the will to deal with the fallout if they were to deny the credit at that point. Wayfarer conceded and informed Sony while also remarking that, quote, they would not be advocating for her getting the PGA mark as that is not applicable. Given Lively's contributions to the film, it was collectively agreed among the producers that she had not earned the distinction of the PGA mark. I would disagree. I think she did by taking control of the movie and making so many decisions that ended up in the film. Oh my God. And at this point, oh my God, June 18th, while we don't have a signed agreement from her, which they've been trying to get, I'll let you determine how to best implement the language wherever needed. And letting the Sony legal rep say she would not be getting the PGA mark as that is not applicable. On June 20th, shortly after granting Lively the producer credit, Heath was informed that Lively had reached out to Sony yet again, this time to ask that Baldoni and Heath write a letter on her behalf so that she may be considered to receive the PGA mark. Both Baldoni and Heath did not feel that her work warranted the PGA mark, a distinction highly valued and taken seriously within the industry. As Heath had already noted in his email on June 18th, they didn't feel it right to misrepresent her contributions in order for her to get a PGA mark. Heath had learned from Sony that Lively was extremely displeased with this response and told Sony that as a result of the men not submitting the letter, any goodwill left was now gone. Babe, what goodwill was left? June 20th to the 24th, his publicist emails Sony's marketing team to inquire about a content shoot that Lively seemingly coordinated with Maximum Effort, a company, Ryan Reynolds' production company. Sony, at the time of the initial outreach by his publicist, was not aware of the plans for the shoot, which were planned for June 27th through the 28th. Later, Sony attested to the fact that Lively and Ryan Reynolds' production company were running the show. His publicist, understandably concerned at the optics of the entire cast doing a content shoot without the director and co-lead being present. This would later be something that the public would take notice of as well, and heightened the rumors and negative press that Lively would take issue with. It was her own doing. His publicist emailed Sony, just want to make sure that we can stay on top of this and can put together some content ideas for JB to also be included, so it's less apparent that he's not physically there with the cast. Ooh, his publicist also emailed Sony saying, I'm hearing through the grapevine that Blake is having her agent and other producers reach out to the reps of the other cast members for an event she is putting together next week. Just want to get ahead of this. Is this something official for the film that is being organized or something more private that Blake is hosting? Do you guys know about this at all? I don't want to make a stir about it or let people know that we, JB team, knows about it, so just wanted to keep it between us. Let me know when you can. Thanks. Another email. Do you have any more intel here about the event Blake is putting together to capture more content? We just want to be armed with the details ahead of time so there aren't surprises, so we can plan accordingly to have Justin included in content as well. And Sony replied back, for the content, Blake and Ryan Reynolds' production company are really running the show. And this show is far from over. I have more updates to come. Stay tuned. Check back in a bit for that. Also, thoughts on all that we've learned here? Let me know what you're thinking in the comments section.